You can listen everywhere to the Philip Maloney podcast.
A really cool radio interview. Is it
NPR?
NPR? NPR.
Yeah. I was sat in the middle of a dock in Colombo. I guess if people do listen to the audio, just to context it, I had arranged. I got invited to the Italian embassy that morning because the Italians had heard that we were moving aid, and they were very frustrated because they had all this aid. They had tons of aid had come in from the Italian people, and they were so frustrated that the government weren't able to move it. Right. So I got invited to the Italian embassy because they just said they wanted to bypass the government and come straight to us and have us move the aid for them.
Right.
So I went to the embassy, met with the ambassador. You got to remember, I was wearing like a pair of shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops, right? Yeah. So got met by this beautifully suited ambassador, the finest Italian suits going. And he said to me in his broken English, we have aid, we want you to move it. I want you to move. So I said, how many trucks worth can I take? And he goes, just 2. So I said, okay. And then the Italian Special Forces, I got introduced to them.
Right.
So I got taken to these docks, the Colombo docks, in a Hummer. Okay. Driven by Italian Special Forces, 12 of them. Huge guys, Marines.
Sure.
Right, who had been sent over to help. They had K9 units and all sorts of stuff with them. They'd been sent over to help with delivering this aid. But of course, they looked like complete fools because they'd been sat there not being able to go anywhere. So I ended up in the docks with 12 of these Marines. They opened up the warehouse where the Italian aid was, and honest to God, you remember, Phil, I was driving around Colombo filling with my plastic bag of money trying to buy aid, right? Scraps.
Yeah.
They'd opened the shutters of this huge port, this huge dock, and inside it was like Christmas. There were boxes upon boxes of medicines, bedding, food. There were inflatable dinghies. There were all sorts of stuff in there. And I just looked at it and I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. So I had arranged for my haulier to send the 2 trucks.
Yeah.
And the Italians having arrived there, it was hot day. And in the docks it's even drier and hot. And I'd arranged for the 2 trucks to come, and the guy that was leading the unit was this little Italian guy in a white suit, again really well dressed.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a bureaucrat sent by the ambassador.
Right.
So you had this little Danny DeVito looking guy and these 12 Italian Marines, and they all just stood around while I was coordinating these workers to load these trucks, okay, these shirtless guys. I had to organize and all sorts of negotiate terms, all that. And these guys were just stood around watching me do it. And after I loaded the first truck, the little Italian Danny DeVito guy comes up to me and says, where can we have some food? We're hungry.
All right.
So I was like, well, I have no idea, but you're a long way from anywhere, really.
Yeah.
They said, no, we must eat. So I said, okay. So I said, well, you're going to have to take your vehicles and then go and find somewhere. So they said, yeah, fine, we'll be back in an hour. So I said, could you do me a favor? Could you just bring me back a bottle of water? I had nothing on me, nothing at all. So they said, sure. So they disappeared. I loaded the second truck up and an hour had passed. They didn't turn up. They were like nowhere to be seen. Another hour went by. I was now hot and bothered. And then I was sat on the the dock, and that's when the NPR guys turned up, and they started asking me questions, and you hear the radio interview.
Yeah.
After I did the radio interview, I sat there thinking, looking at all this aid behind me, knowing that I had another 18 trucks, right, with my haulier.
Yeah.
Knowing that there were people dying and there were people desperate.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? Pick the phone up to my, with my big ringtone phone.
Yeah.
We didn't have smartphones back then, do we? So
Send a few more trucks.
So I rang my haulier and I said, send them all.
Yeah.
Send them all.
Fill them up.
So this convoy of 18 trucks appeared about half an hour later. Still no sign of the Italians and Danny. And I said to my labourers, I renegotiated some terms with the labourers, and I got them to start loading, literally emptying the warehouse. I took inflatable boats and put them in, and filled up the rest of the truck with other stuff, because I knew that in Ampara, one of the towns on the other side, one of the bridges had broken, been smashed by the tsunami, and there was an island that had been isolated, and there was no way to get to them.
Yeah.
So I thought, inflatables, I'll take a couple of those. So we literally filled up 18 trucks. So I think they did it so quickly. I mean, so the Italians have been away now for about 3 or 4 hours. And I was parched. I didn't have a drink, nothing. By the time they come back, there was this long line of Tata trucks, all fully loaded. And Danny DeVito comes running up to me saying, what are these? I said, well, these are your trucks. He goes, what do you mean? We only asked for 2. I said, no, you said 20. And he said, no, 2. I said, no, you said 20. Your boss said to me 20. So I was lying through my teeth. And I was like crapping myself. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. And there were 12, highly trained killers there, right? Yeah. And Danny DeVito was jumping up and down.
You're not having a gun pointed in your face.
No, exactly. Like I said, I was pretty fearless. And Danny DeVito, just in between this, so he was getting pretty angry. He'd taken his shoes off for some reason as well, I think because it was so hot. He'd taken his very smart Italian leather shoes off, and he put them on the side. And then anyway, he's arguing with me. He's saying, no, we can't take, we just said 2. And I said, look, get your ambassador on the phone, because he said to me 20. So they had this these big sort of military style mobile phone things, sat phone, I think they call them, or something.
Yeah.
So he's got a direct line to the ambassador. Ambassador's saying to me, what's going on? I said, well, you asked for 20 trucks. He goes, no, I said 2. I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Ambassador, but you definitely said to me 20. And I have 20 trucks fully laden with your goods ready to go. I'm ready to send them all over the island to save thousands of people's lives. The Italian people are going to be incredibly happy with you, and I don't understand why you're having a problem with this, because the aid is all here. Why not let's just do it? It took about half an hour of going backwards and forwards. And then I said to him, look, and in the meantime, I've now got the TRO guys calling me, because the Italian ambassadors now call the head of the TRO complaining to him. Right. So my boss is calling me saying, what the hell's going on? And I told him the truth. I said, look, they did say 2, but come on, man. There's so much. Let's do it. So anyway, after some negotiation, I said to him, look, by the way, I've also got all of the media guys following me around. I can give you some fantastic publicity.
Yeah.
You get photos, you guys come and stand in front of the trucks, show your Italian people what you're doing, the first nation in Sri Lanka to truly contribute, the Italians. So I have to say, I did my best sales pitch I've ever done in my entire life. And then, of course, eventually the ambassador says, okay, we'll do it. So we had to then arrange for this media guys to come down, and they did. Danny DeVito, in the meantime, is now furious screaming at me, not because of the 20 trucks, because one of the workers had stolen his shoes. So he was in this white fancy shoe, barefoot.
20 trucks and a pair of shoes.
So he's screaming at me, saying, "Where are my shoes?" And I said, "I don't know where your shoes are." And I look at all the workers, and I'm looking at all their feet. They're barefoot. Obviously, they're not wearing them. So I'm saying to them in Tamil, guys, who's got these guys' shoes? And all of them just looked at me. He says, no, we don't know what you're talking about. I was like, fair enough. So I said to Danny, look, I'm sorry about your shoes, but I said, I can get you some flip-flops, you know. So we managed to find him some dirty, skanky flip-flops, which he then continued to walk around in. But so by about sundown, so the media were there. It was dark. It was a phenomenal sight, though, Phil. All these trucks were laid up, and these are the colourful Indian Tata trucks, you know.
Yeah.
Lit up, and they had big they'd made this big banner, and they had the Italian flag and all that kind of stuff. And then they were dispatched, you know, with the ambassador and all that, and it was front page news the following morning, all the national newspapers.
Brilliant.
And yeah, the aid was distributed right across the island. I then got called in by my boss, TRO boss, a few hours later, and he asked me whether there was anything in those trucks that perhaps we shouldn't have been transporting. So I was like what? And he said, well, did you send any inflatable dinghies in any of those trucks? And I said, I might have done. I said, why? He says, well, because the government are accusing the Tamil Tigers of transporting military equipment to fund the war.
Right.
And the Italians are now being accused of supporting the Tamil Tigers. And there's now an international incident with the Italian government and the Sri Lankan government.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, well, you know, I said, to be honest with you, I didn't really know what was in those boxes. What do you want me to do? But of course, but the inflatables got to Ampara, and they managed to transport the aid, and then the Italians got wrapped around the knuckles by the Sri Lankan government. But you know what? C'est la vie. C'est la vie.
Yeah. Aid got out.
Aid got out. Yeah, we got. Like I said, the purpose was clear, and we made it happen. But
yeah,
it was one of my favourite moments in that time. So the NPR.
2.
Yeah, 2. But so the NPR radio, if you listen to the audio, that's me in between doing that with the Italians.
It's definitely an interesting listen. I would highly recommend it. I'll stick it in the section below,
sure,
the description of this video when I upload it. Definitely. Yeah. I would encourage people to look at that. Listen to it.
You can listen everywhere to the Philip Maloney podcast.